So I guess we got a Transformers Tuesday a little earlier than expected, and now we finally have the first look at what we just discussed yesterday of the next Transformers collaboration project, and that of the crossovers X-Men X Transformers project. And what do we get this time around? Well, I don't know. I'm kind of hot and cold on this one. I was excited yesterday just by the idea of it, but the execution, oh geez, no pun intended, was not what I expected. I mean, I don't know. I'm liking some things. I'm kind of confused about others. So we got the Transformers Collaborative Marvel Comics X-Men Mashup Ultimate X-Spanse. Play on expense or expanse. I don't know. Even that name, I don't know. So they claim here Transformers X-Men Mashup. When the mutants need a lift to their next mission, Ultimate X-Spanse is the ultimate ally. Inspired by the X-Jet from the 90s animated series, this Ultimate X-Spanse figure converts into a licensed Lockheed Martin jet with 34 steps, blah, 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 deco from the animated series. So just that statement alone is confusing for me before we even get to the figure. So the whole point of these collaboration series and everything and these crossovers is that they kind of celebrate anniversaries in a lot of ways for a lot of these different brands. By mentioning the X-Men cartoon series, that doesn't make sense because that came out in 92, and that would make it an odd number, which isn't really good for anniversaries. I don't know. So that doesn't make sense. I don't know why they went with that. Also, the 90s, see, it says here it's inspired by the 90s X-Jet. Now, that in itself is a whole different discussion because in the 90s cartoon of X-Men by Fox, they purposely didn't want to call it the Blackbird, and they didn't want to make it look like how it looked in the comic books, which was a Blackbird, Lockheed, and they didn't want to do that because they were going to make toys, it was going to be in the show, and they didn't want to pay licensing fees. So they radically retooled that jet and called it the X-Jet instead. And the only thing that was kind of like, I guess, saved by everything was when Toy Biz did the toys based off of the, quote, X-Jet, they just called it the Blackbird Jet and were able to get away with it. But the retooling was it didn't look anything like an actual Blackbird. And it was a conscious effort on purpose for it to look different in the cartoon and in the toys, so they just didn't have to pay a license to, I think it was Martin at the time, Lockheed Martin that owns it. So, I don't know. It's definitely not going to look like how it did in the cartoon. It looks more like how it did kind of in the comics, but not really because of the coloring and everything. So, yeah. So that's the first confusing thing. Now, let's get to that robot mode. Let's get to everything that's going on here. I love how one of the robot mode photos is completely mistransformed. And anyways, every time I look at these robot mode photos, I'm just discovering something new for the first time. So overall, in general, if you took away its energy weapons that are included with it, it looks like it's a Cyclops robot mode. That's what they were going for. It has Cyclops' pouches across the waist. It has a variation of the Jim Lee Cyclops belt on the chest, although Jim Lee Cyclops' belt had more of a Y pattern. This one they went with an X because, they wanted to really hammer it home. And it's got the, up and down visor. You could pick it up. You could put it off his face. You could put it on his face, so he has the Cyclops visor. So if on its own, it would be pretty much interpreted as a Cyclops transformer. Almost like, it almost feels like it would have fit in with all those Marvel crossover Hasbro Transformers that were done almost a decade ago. But then they also included a Psyblade on the right hand, which invokes that of Psylocke, but it's just a standalone Psyblade. The rest of the arm doesn't invoke anything of Psylocke herself, Betsy. And then the left hand has a Psyblade also, but it's done in 3 prongs, so I guess it's supposed to invoke Wolverine. which is kind of funny because if you're like a really hardcore reader of the alternate universes, Wolverine had a daughter, and her name was Wild Thing, and she had like a Psyblade, a 3 Psyblade claw. So that's, you know, that's here in Ann Arbor, not X-23. It's another daughter, again, the alternate universes and stuff. So if anything, it's also like, oh, I guess that's a Wild Thing homage, but it's supposed to be Wolverine. Sure, okay. The rest of it doesn't really carry any other X-Men homages to other characters, unless you want to go, well, you know, the rest of it is kind of blue, so maybe he's a beast. I firmly, if you take off these Psyblade, like these energy effects or whatever, it's a Cyclops figure. That's what it's going for. And it comes with 2 little minifigs. Doesn't look like they're articulated, but it comes with 2 little minifigs, one of Wolverine and one of Sabretooth. Sabretooth, his design, I will give them credit, is more nodded towards that of the animated design. Sabretooth had kind of a little bit of a tweaked, different design than how he looked in the comics on the animated series, just the way that his shoulder fluff was and stuff. And Wolverine's there too. It shows that there's some aura energy that you could attach to Wolverine. I don't know if that's the only thing that reminds me of it's a throwback to like the Children of the Atoms, like Capcom fighter games of X-Men, where like Wolverine could activate Berserker energy, or when he does Berserker Barrage X and he had like energy around him, like most fighting game characters, they'd have that kind of weirdness. Is it supposed to be like this pairing together when they fought in the episode, I think it was Deadly Reunion, episode 4, I think it was, of the X-Men cartoon, where they beat the hell out of each other? I don't know. It's very weird. Again, I have a lot of weird feelings about this. And again, but just to go to it's, for people that haven't caught on to this point, it's a heavy retool of the Studio Series Jetfire. So that one's, some people guessed that it was going to be Jetfire. Some people guessed it was going to be other characters, but that's what we have here. So it's a Jetfire remold. It comes with 3 energy weapons, one to make the Wolverine claw, or Wild Thing claw, more accurately, the Psyblade from Psylocke, and then the little energy that goes on the little Wolverine minifigure. And that's it, really. It's very bizarre. Oh, and I forgot to mention, also the box that it comes in, it's a throwback little homage to the old, like I mentioned before, Toy Biz Blackbird Jet box. So it has that same kind of orangey yellow to it. It's not a complete homage, but you could see it kind of is leaning in that direction by the choice of colors. And I'm kind of iffy about this one. It's kind of bizarre. Now, I feel that if a casual, Marvel fan, or even a very casual X-Men fan would see this, they'd be like, oh, hey, it's that Blackbird from the cartoon, and it transforms into Cyclops, and I guess that'll kind of achieve what they were hoping with. A hardcore fan will kind of look at it and pick it apart and go, okay, that's kind of weird, okay. So I believe this is first showing up. They said here pre-orders start now at Target.com. And if you want to, Target right now has a coupon. You'll have to find it, but you get $10 off. So you could apply that coupon to your pre-order here. It's supposed to be $59.99. So for us Canadians, it's probably going to be like, typical $70, $80. And that's today. Afterwards, it'll be at the following retailers on, it says here, apparently, March 1st. So that's still a while from now, of next year. And that'll be at GameStop, also known as EB Games here in Canada, and of course, Hasbro Pulse. So they probably have some kind of debut deal, at least with Target first, before it shows up at other locations. So don't worry if you don't like exclusives like Target or whatever. There will be other opportunities. But this is a very, very, very bizarre design. Again, I like it, but I don't like it. There's things that I like. There's things that I don't like. I guess I just need to have it in person. I don't own the Studio Series Jetfire, so I don't really know the quality of that one. I practically have every movie Jetfire except that one, oddly enough. But again, it's interesting. I feel like at the end of the day, if you were someone who collected those Marvel crossovers, back in the day, those Marvel crossover Transformers. This is your Cyclops. This is the Cyclops toy that they never made. They made Wolverine. They made so many other characters, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk. They did so many, but they never did a Cyclops. So I guess this would be your Cyclops figure that would fit in with everything. And yeah, because it really is at the end of the day a Cyclops. I feel that the energy weapon things are kind of just tacked on at the end of the day. But yeah, let me know what you think. I know I sound a bit like a downer on this, but when I saw it, I was just like, huh, interesting. You know, that's a very weird kind of way to go about it, but you know, maybe it's staying true with all those old Marvel crossovers where they all were kind of odd in their designs. But yeah, let me know what you think.